Hey hobby heretics, have you ever sought illumination of the truth? And have you ever seeked the light of chaos? Well, you're not going to get any of that in this video because in this video I'm going to do a hobby review. And what I will be reviewing will be the two fancy looking lights you can see here. The first one is from Green Stuff World, and I believe it's called the Hobby Arch LED lamp. Alongside that, I will be reviewing the streaming attachment that fits onto this lamp as well because I plan to do some streaming. And as a comparison and to just keep this video interesting, I also got a similar lamp from Temu. I believe the name of this particular product on Temu is called Arch Hobby Light, but the names on that website, they change all the time, so I won't be too specific on that. So this is my current hobby area. As you can see, it's quite simple. I moved recently, so I'm still setting things up. But the main issue that you can see here is that it's quite dark. And for myself personally, I do not want to strain my eyes. And for other more practical reasons, such as wanting better lights for streaming. And personally, I do believe that better lights mean better details, which means a better paint job. And in this video, I will review and cover their specifications. I will compare their costs, ease of use, ease to set up and assemble, their general ergonomics and how good it really works in their function, any areas of concerns, as well as any product features. For example, looking at previous reviews, I know that the Green Stuff World Arch LED lamp has an issue with overheating and in some cases some plasticky smell. And so these are areas that I will be looking into and possibly addressing. Anyways, I'm done with the preamble and introduction, and it's quite a good sunny day right now in Auckland. It's nice and sunny outside, so I'm just going to grab everything and chuck it on the front porch and I'll do the unboxing there. And I should mention now that this video is unsponsored. All of these products here I paid for myself, so this review will be completely unbiased. Oh mate, you call this a knife? So let's start with Green Stuff World. I quite like the packaging that everything was shipped in. It's in this cardboard box here, which made sure that everything was kept together and everything was kept safe. The shipping from Spain to New Zealand itself was advertised as around 7 business days. In reality, it reached me in around 4 business days, which is quite quick considering that the package came all the way from Spain to New Zealand. Though do note that I did choose the FedEx shipping option, which was only around $4 more than the standard postal service. Personally, I do feel like that the $4 extra was worth it because otherwise it would take around a month or perhaps even more to reach me. And one thing I quite liked about the packaging was that the instructions were on the underside of the lid. Because as a guy, the first thing that I take out and throw away would be the instructions, and sometimes that piece of paper will go missing or get damaged, which cannot happen here since the instructions are literally baked on the box. The Temu lights themselves came in a sad plastic sack which offers practically no protection, which is why it looks a little bit dented in my photographs. The lights themselves were not damaged, so I think it worked out, though your mileage may vary here. The shipping time for Temu was around 1 week, and I should mention that the shipping was free. Bro, why is the desk shaking? For this section, I will start with the Temu lights first. It's the simplest one to do and you can see why. The packaging itself is much larger, however that meant there was very little assembly needed. It's pretty much good to go out of the box. The assembly time is roughly 10 seconds if you know what you're doing, which is very nice. This is also where I should mention that the Temu light itself is a fair bit smaller than the Arch LED light from Green Stuff World. I will go more into it later in this review video. And lastly, and I'm not sure if this is important, there does seem to be some kind of documentation for the EU. I cannot read Chinese, so I've got no idea what that is, but that sure looks important. Yeah, so I'm just showing it in case it does matter. The Arch LED lamp from Green Stuff World does require a bit of assembly. On the box, it does say it will take about 10 minutes, and I do find that it's generally accurate. So going through the box's content, you will find that all the electronic and loose components are in their own plastic bag, and the plastic itself generally has a nice weight and feel to it. There really isn't anything worse than trying to assemble a plastic kit when the plastic feels like it's about to crumble. So that's a good first impression so far. And for the assembly itself, it's pretty much box standard. There's no gluing or anything like that involved. You just snap the bits together. When pressed together, some of the parts do feel a bit tight, but I prefer it that way. I do not want the light to disintegrate on top of my models as I start painting them. Overall, the entire assembly is very straightforward. I feel like the most challenging and intimidating part for most people would be installing the LED strip. For those who are concerned or intimidated by this step of the assembly, don't be. It's basically just lining up the strip and then peeling off the backing. If you've played with stickers before in kindergarten, it's basically the same concept. The side of the LED with the power cord will thread through the stand, so there's no real stress there. Though there are some deficiencies with the actual kit itself, and it's mainly to do with these clips that you're seeing right here. These smaller clips that you can see here work by tension, and the sizing is a little bit off, so it feels a little bit loose. On occasion, these small clips here will just fall off on their own, or any kind of soft knocks will just make them fall off completely, such as trying to install the phone holder. And secondly, the larger clips here are not sized correctly, or should I say that the LED strips are not sized correctly. It's not really an assembly error. Even if I move it to the left or the right, it still won't fit correctly. The strip is just simply too long. It does not affect the function of the lamp itself, nor does it pose a safety concern, though if you do have OCD, it will grind your gears a bit. And the last part that I find to be generally annoying is that the plug that comes with the lamp is an EU plug, which means that I need to find a plug adapter. So, speaking of the phone holder, or as Green Stuff World puts it, the streamer support set for Arch LED lamp. I have no real complaint on it, other than a whole nut missing. So yeah, the nut that is meant to secure the phone holder to the light itself is missing. Like, what the fuck is going on? Is this supposed to be done? I can use it without the nut, but it will be a bit less secure, since the nut that's there to secure the tension is not there. And before I go on with the rest of the video, I do want to go over the costs and some of the specifications. And as I go through this, do keep in mind that some of the numbers are in New Zealand dollars, which I will indicate on the screen when that happens. So let's start with the Hobby Arch LED lamp from Green Stuff World. According to the website, the measurements are 73 centimeters wide and round about 38 centimeters high. The color temperature is variable between 6,000 to 6,500 kelvins, which sits around daytime white and cool white, and its light intensity could be adjusted. It does specify on the website that it only comes with an EU plug, and plugs for the USA and the UK region are available as a separate purchase. And according to its own website, its lifetime is rated to be around 50,000 hours or around 2,000 days, which is just under 6 years. And should the LED strip burn out, the replacement strip will set you back around $28. And you get all of this for around $77 US, plus $39.33 shipping to New Zealand by FedEx. At the time of recording this is on special, but it's been on special for a long time, so I'm just going to take this as the actual price. Next, we have the Temu option, and there is not a lot of information there other than the exact dimensions, as well as some information on its color temperature, which ranges from about 3,000 to around 6,000 kelvins. Though it does mention that it needs at least 2 amps to run the lights, which most normal USB outlets should be able to provide. There is no stated life expectancy, though it is so cheap that it doesn't really matter. You get this lamp for, wait for it, 37 New Zealand dollars, which works out to be around 21 American dollars, which works out to be less than the cost of the replacement LED strip for the Arch LED lamp. And I also found it interesting that the light is marketed as a cosmetic light, so I guess if this doesn't work out, I'll just give it to my girlfriend, if I had one. And so with the cost information out of the way, I am now going to turn the lights on for several hours, and I'm going to try them out myself, and then I'm going to give you guys my final impressions. I have now left the lights on for about 3 hours, and I am happy to say that there have been no indication of any overheating, nor are there any plasticky smells. This is important since these two complaints seems to be the most numerous types of issues that people run across when reviewing LED lamps. Though it is important to note that I am running on a very small sample size, so your own experience may vary here. It could very well be me being very lucky with these two units. The video that you're seeing right now are both lights after being turned on for about 3 hours at the highest light intensity setting. And yes, I am painting with Corex white, not because I'm a masochist, but because it shows up on the camera better. And that seems to be my experience off camera as well. In my own experience, the brightness felt pretty much the same. However, on camera, there seems to be a difference in the quality of the lighting. You will notice that the Temu light produces more glare despite having a plastic diffuser attached. And ultimately, this means that when you're trying to do any kind of recording, or if you're trying to do any streaming, the stream quality will suffer as a result, as the camera will struggle to find somewhere to focus. Personally, I feel like if you're not trying to make any kind of media, such as photography, videos, or do any kind of streaming, and you are just using it as a normal hobby light, I think the Temu light is just perfectly fine. The glare from the Temu light is probably due to its smaller size. With the lights being closer to the model, the lights have less distance to diffuse naturally, and this gives me a good opportunity to segue onto the topic of size. Because as I mentioned near the start of this video, the Temu light is a fair bit smaller than the Arch LED lamp. And this gave me ergonomic concerns, since brushes in general are quite long, so there was the risk where the ends of the brush would smack into the side of the lamp. And well, that concern is pretty much unfounded because as you can see here, I'm pretty much painting without any issues. I was able to paint naturally without any type of obstruction whatsoever. And lastly, before I move on to the pros and cons, I do want to compare their stability. And it is here that the Green Stuff World Arch LED lamp comes clearly ahead. It is a hefty boy. And with the 4 rubber pads underneath its stand, it really takes a lot of effort to even try and shift it across the surface. In fact, as I tried to do this, another piece of the LED clamp just fell off, so yeah. And as for the Temu lamp, not so good. It's pretty much supported on 4 small plastic legs, which as some people might say, it's quite suboptimal. If there's any tension on the USB line, it's pretty much guaranteed to get yanked across the table. And when the legs are not deployed fully, it occasionally just gives up. So what's our final verdict? Overall, I would give the Green Stuff World Arch LED lamp a 7 out of 10. It is a product proudly made in Spain, and if cost is not a consideration, it is the lamp that I would personally choose. Spotty workmanship aside, such as these clips that fall off occasionally, it does not really impede its main function. Its plastic does feel very solid, and it sits very steady. Out of the 2 products, this one gives off the best performance, and as such is probably the most versatile one, costs withstanding. With all that said, there are some points that a potential buyer may need to pay attention to. For one, it is about 3 to 4 times the price of its budget competitor. It does require some assembly, and some parts just do not fit well together. Not to mention the missing bolt on its mobile phone attachment. On that note, I will be emailing Green Stuff World and see if I can somehow get a replacement. I'll keep you guys updated. Other minor nitpicks includes having an EU plug. The other types of plug requires you to buy them separately, as well as not having a proper LED cover for the light. As far as the LED light goes, I'm sure this is perfectly safe, but at the same time, that compounded along with the clips falling off does kind of give it a shoddy feeling. Moving on to the Temu lights, I'll be really honest with you guys, I was not expecting much at all. Just purely due to the price point, I was expecting something to just smell or just not work, to frankly explode or something. That's one of the reasons why I took it outside. Overall, this is a product that I will rate 6.5 out of 10. I did take half a point off due to it technically being a worse product since it produces a bit more glare, just purely due to the distance between the lights and the model. It is also a lot less stable on the table, and I feel like these 2 factors directly affects its main function as a light. Its smaller size did not really factor into the equation too much because it did not really impede or aid in anything. However, for certain people who have limited working space, this could very much be a pro, but I'm just going to leave it neutral. Overall, I do feel like that this is a product that punches far, far above its price point. I mean, not only is it much cheaper, it comes with free shipping, it works off a USB so you don't really have to deal with the EU plug nonsense, and it does not even require a lot of assembly. I think the only real reason where you do not want to buy this product would be if you have any misgivings with the actual company itself, which is fair enough. Overall, this is a very accessible product that I would recommend to people if you, well, firstly, don't mind buying anything off Temu, and you're on a budget, and you're working in a limited amount of space. Anyways, this wraps up this review. Yeah, this was my first review. I'll be doing more in the future. That is a thread that I will carry out. I am planning to stream earliest this week, latest next week. So if you have any questions about the lamp or anything else that's hobby related, you're welcome to join on. The next review will probably be painting related. I'm still deciding on whether I want to review Army Painter paint or if I want to review white paint for my Star Phantoms army. Anyways, if you have any feedback or any kind of comments, yeah, feel free to make them down below. I'm very interested in reading all these comments. If you enjoyed watching this, do like and subscribe. It does motivate me a lot. So yeah, have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.